if you haven't seen fire, huh, you're going to be running into some problems. And we get that from the LANDFIRE biophysical settings. We've used that for a lot of stuff. That historic fire interval is really super helpful to be able to get at the variation of historic ecosystems across the geography. Is this something we can even really look at or should be looking at for regular fire? This is what that looks like across the Southeast. As you can see, it is most of the Southeastern United States has a fire return interval less than 20 years. Actually, most is less than 9 years. And that's always a challenge, capturing what's being, where fire is happening, especially fire footprints, getting down to that level of detail. And so basically what we did for this is we combined for getting at the fire, we used two things: USGS Landsat burned areas, which is, again, exactly what it sounds like, uses Landsat to estimate burned areas. That's particularly helpful, especially on private lands and things that LANDFIRE is not capturing in its disturbance as well. So this is very much remote sensed style kind of piece. And then we also use the LANDFIRE disturbance layers because they capture a lot of stuff that the Landsat burned areas miss and have that really extensive list of data contributors that they're pulling in fire data from. So we combine the two, basically sort of like if one or the other says there's fire, then we counted that as a kind of combined layer. And then we use the LANDFIRE biophysical setting to compare that and say, well, okay, this is supposed to be burned every 5 years, give or take a small percentage. Has it actually been burned in that time period? So then if we look at that, this is what it looks like if we think about the fire adapted areas that are in their historic fire interval now. And that's just a point in time, which is not too horrible, but way less than when we started from. So just a reminder, we started from here. This is all the places that are the fire adapted areas. And this is what we have left that seems to be in its historic fire interval now. Now, this is not including a lot of the other important components of the fire regime, right? So we're not talking about like the season of burn. We're not talking about the intensities. This is a very coarse, kind of simplistic version. That's just like return interval. So even this, then there's subsets that aren't quite in there. They're not in their rotation for other reasons. Their regime for reasons.